The Global Youth Exchange Program is a wonderful opportunity for entire families to welcome students from foreign countries into their homes and lives. Serving as a host family allows you to introduce your own customs and traditions to foreign visitors, as well as to reap the benefits of sharing your home with and learning from someone from another culture. One of the most common misconceptions about being a host family is that you or someone in your family must be a Rotarian, or that you have children of the same age as the exchange student. In fact, some of the best exchanges are in homes with young children or no children at all. While it is desirable that the host family provide the student with their own room, it is not required. But if they do share a room, it must be with someone of their own gender, and ideally of the same age range. To ensure the safety of our exchange students, all host families must be screened through an application, interview, and background check. Volunteering to host a student demonstrates your commitment to Rotary ideals of international understanding and cultural exchange. Volunteers must also understand and comply with Rotary International and district guidelines for the Youth Exchange Program. Rotary requires that home visits must be conducted annually, even for repeat host families. All adult residents of the host home must meet the criteria for all volunteers in the previous section. This includes adults 18 years or older, children of the host family, and other members of the extended family that reside in the home. Your main responsibility as a host family is to enrich the experience students have by welcoming and including them in your family. The best way to achieve this goal is to treat the student as if they were your own child, not a guest. This means holding the student to the same responsibilities and rules you would your own child. Don't be afraid to ask them to join in household chores, weekend projects, family trips, and religious services if they don't go against or offend their beliefs. Basically, anything you can think of that you would ask your own child to do is a good rule to follow. The following guidelines will help you to make this experience one to remember for all those involved. Keep things informal. Let your student know right from the start you prefer not to be called Mr. or Mrs. As they become more comfortable with you, they may call you Mom or Dad, or possibly use your first name. Keep your expectations clear. Using the first night questions will guide you in discussing household expectations, such as making beds, doing dishes, setting the table, etc. An interactive copy of the questionnaire can be found in most languages at www.yeoresources.org. Use moderation. Some students have voiced concern that they felt like unpaid help where the others had no chores at all and felt left out. The key is to find a fair middle ground. Discipline should be addressed within the household, as it should be clear to the students what is expected of them and what the consequences are for violation of these rules. If you have concerns regarding limitations or expectations, please bring them up to the counselor. There are a lot of things you can do on the program, but a few things you can't. We call these the 4 Ds. One of the 4 Ds of the Youth Exchange Program is no drinking. Alcoholic beverages are not permitted. An exception to this rule would be having an alcoholic drink at a family event or meal, or a celebration of a traditional custom. Pure drinking is strictly prohibited. If your home does not allow alcohol, then the student is not permitted to drink under any circumstances. Drugs are the second D. Possession or use of illegal drugs is absolutely forbidden. Students violating this rule will be sent home. If you suspect your student is using drugs, please contact the counselor immediately. Driving is the third D. Although the temptation is high, exchange students are not allowed to drive while staying with you. This includes motorized vehicles such as cars, boats, snowmobiles, and jet skis. If allowed, they could face termination from the program. Dating is the fourth D. Romantic involvement during the exchange program is against the rules, as this limits interaction with peers. Students are encouraged to go out with peers of both genders, in groups, and avoid exclusive one-to-one dating. Independent travel by a student is prohibited. Extended travel, school, Rotary and family-sponsored trips may be allowed, but must be approved by the club and district chair to ensure the plans meet requirements of the program. It is not the counselor's duty to make decisions regarding extended travel. Day-to-day attendance at school is a must, and students are expected to complete homework assignments and participate in class like their schoolmates. Students are also encouraged to participate in extracurricular activities to gain experience and make friends. After a period of time, it is understandable that students will experience homesickness, and it is important that you listen and talk with them. Frequent communication with parents and friends via email and phone calls can make homesickness worse. Limiting phone calls to a monthly call and email to 30 minutes per day are suggested guidelines. Frequent communication in their native language delays the integration and development of their English language skills. The success of a student exchange depends greatly on open and continuous communication between the student, host family, and the counselor. Student concerns like homesickness, academics, and behavior should be discussed with the counselor. It is the counselor's role to support the host family and ensure the students adhere to the Rotary rules and ideals of international understanding and cultural exchange. So, now you've heard the rules and have had many good experiences with your students. As your student stay comes to a close, please take the time to sit down with the next host family and fill them in on your student's character and personality, as well as their likes and dislikes. Remember, there are many stories of host families and students staying in touch years after the initial visit because of bonds made during the exchange. Listen to what these host families have to say about their experience.
As it is with youth exchange, in many cases I felt that I learned more from the kids than they learned from me. I was able to take them many places, and with the Rotary-sponsored Eastern Adventure and Western Adventure, of course, the kids can go on trips to see other parts of the country. But I really felt that I've learned so much from all of these kids, and you learn about the cultural aspects and the politics of where they come from and they live, and they learn about yours and the way of life here in America.
I strongly recommend that you get involved in your student's life with their friends and really get to know them as a real person, and remembering to respect them like we want to be treated ourselves. And I think you'll really benefit from getting to know someone from a different country. It just really makes you think that the world is small, and it's really been fun for us, and opens up new worlds, and it's really been a good experience for us. And in fact, we are taking another one this year as well from Mexico. I'm really looking forward to having her be part of our family as well.
As you can see, this is an incredible experience. If you're not already signed up, call your local Rotary Club today. Now, let's discuss something very important. Although it is rarely an issue, sexual harassment and sexual abuse are two topics that need to be addressed. It is important that everyone, including the students, parents, counselors, and host families, reference this section. The facts and procedures discussed in this section could prove to be of great importance. So let's get started by reviewing a couple basic definitions. Sexual abuse: forcing or encouraging someone, regardless of age or gender, to engage in implicit or explicit sexual acts alone or with another person. Sexual abuse examples are many and varied, and range from strong physical offenses to indecent exposure, or expecting a student to look at sexual or pornographic material. Sexual harassment: not as severe as abuse. It refers to sexual advances, requests for favors, or verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature. Often a technique used by sexual predators to desensitize or groom their victims for abuse. Examples of sexual harassment range from sexually explicit jokes to physical touching or brushing. It may be less likely to see harassment coming. Here are a few common ways people may be harassed. 1. While at a museum with his exchange student, Mr. Smith spent an unusual amount of time taking Sharita around to see sexually suggestive objects, pictures, and sculptures. 2. When Jose got ready for bed, Mrs. Jones would stop by his room, leering in, and would give a slight sound hinting that he was very sexy. 3. After watching an R-rated movie together, the obscene language or gestures in it are repeated over and over again for no good reason. 4. Sexually suggestive comments that are not appreciated are given out on a regular basis. An individual continually comments and gloats about his or her sexual activity. So now you know the basic definitions of abuse and harassment as well as some examples. I think by now we all know what we're dealing with. The next question is, what do we do about it? Following are some of the key steps to be taken in the rare event sexual abuse or harassment allegations have been made. Meet with the students and listen attentively. Stay calm and acknowledge that it takes a lot of courage to report abuse or harassment. Be encouraging and do not express shock, horror, or disbelief. Get the facts, but don't interrogate. Avoid asking why questions. Try to establish what was done and who did it. Be non-judgmental. Do not criticize anyone or anything that has happened, and it is especially important not to blame the student. Assure privacy, but not confidentiality. Explain that you have to tell someone about the abuse or harassment for it to stop, and that this will make sure that it doesn't happen again. Reassure the student that he or she did the right thing by telling you. Remind them that your responsibility is to represent their account of the situation to the proper authorities. Whoever is contacted first must ensure the safety and well-being of the student by removing them from the situation immediately. All contact with the alleged abuser or harasser must cease. Give reassurance to the students. This is for his or her safety and is not a punishment. Keep a written record of all conversations you have had with the student. This should include the date and time of the conversation. Use the student's words and record only what has been told to you. Do not contact or challenge the alleged offender. In cases of abuse, interrogation must be left entirely to the law enforcement authorities, who should be contacted as soon as you become aware of the situation. Rotary International must also be informed of any allegations within 72 hours of it being reported to district personnel. Rotary will cooperate with all police or legal investigations. You will likely be requested to provide the following information: the student's name and location, the suspected perpetrator's name and relationship to the child, if known, a description of what you have seen or heard regarding the abuse or neglect, the names of people having knowledge of the abuse, your name and phone number. In cases of harassment, a report must be made to the Rotary Club District Youth Exchange leadership. The District Youth Exchange Chair and District Governor are responsible for having an investigation conducted. This may be done by a District Youth Protection Officer or committee and may vary from district to district. In all cases, the privacy of both the exchange student and alleged adult abuser will be respected during the investigation. Details of abuse must be reported to local law enforcement or state agencies. In conclusion, while it is very rare that abuse or harassment ever takes place on a Rotary Youth Exchange program, it is our responsibility to inform and educate you on the proper procedure for handling this subject, in the case it does occur. For a complete list of these guidelines, check your district or multi-district website, or with your Youth Exchange chair. There is also a printable PDF version available at the end of this DVD. Become a host family of the Rotary International Youth Exchange Program. It will be an experience you, your family, and a